Kamal Haasan's career, apart from Appauniye, after 15, started with making songs. I learned to shoot from actual gunfighters like Kamal Haasan. I always thought that ghosts of Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Nehru will never leave India.
Hello, sir. Welcome to Film Companion South. How has the lockdown been treating you? Some people are saying that it's just made them, recharge their batteries. Other people are continuing to work. What has it been like for Kamal Haasan?
Well, these kind of lockdowns happen if you've been hospitalized, you've been in an accident, which I have often been. And I have locked myself down in 1990. The whole year I didn't work because I thought I was missing the family. And the whole year I didn't think cinema. It was the time when the satellite television was quite new. So I was reading and staying at home. And it was a clear 3-month lockdown for me. I didn't even leave my house in Lust Church Road. My children will bear witness to it. I used to wait like a house husband, waiting for them to return home from school and wife from shopping. So I've been there. And in a way, I don't mind if there is someone to take care of your needs. When I say needs, it's not only groceries. When you have people around you,
Right.
you feel comfortable. You don't have to go out. And that's probably how the hunter-gatherer felt when he came home.
Right.
Or he didn't go out.
But when you from the age of 5, you've been surrounded by people. That's your life. So whether it's that little period in 1990 or now, does the fact that you're away from people, does that feel different?
I'm not. That's the magic of today. I'm not. I'm talking to Baradwaj Rangan, and I'm talking every day for a few hours to my cadre who's going out there and helping those who can afford to by virtue of their youth and health. Many are going out, and every day I speak to many people who are actually my ears and eyes. I've never been so connected before.
Yeah, that's one thing. One of the things that you've been doing, of course, and the reason for this interview is this song that you have written and directed about the coronavirus. Now, before we talk about the song, I wanted to ask if the earlier Kamal Haasan, that is the Kamal Haasan who was the actor, the filmmaker, and other things related to cinema and only cinema, would have written this song, versus the new Kamal Haasan who has an extra addition to his portfolio, which is that of a politician.
No, Kamal Haasan's career, apart from Appauniye, after 15, started with making songs. I was a dance choreographer, and I was connected to making of songs very closely, much more than even some of the directors of those days. I was so bored that I wanted to make films without songs. So that's my backstory. That's my other life. So I'm sort of revisiting it. It's sort of a retro look at KH.
Right, but what I mean is, has the fact that you have been a politician for a while now, that you've been dealing with people at a very grassroots level, that you've been seeing a lot of other realities play out in front of you from what was your life earlier, has all of this gone into the song in a way that an earlier song from Kamal Haasan might not have been?
I don't know, because the earlier Kamal Haasan is an elder citizen.
Right.
He has lived a long life with people. So the newer nascent politician will have to learn something from the older citizen, and which he is. He's an ardent student. of the older person. So this nascent politician is energetic, very wannabe, and so he'll work much harder and with passion, which he wants to equal that of the other citizen, Citizen K.
Right. Which is incidentally the name of the book that you told me very, very long about. I don't know.
It is simply uh, 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 Mr. Hariharan's coinage, and he is a sometimes very surprised how it came true. He says, "You really become Citizen K."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, you have to name a child," and then it grows up.
Now, just on a small tangent, is that book coming out anytime soon?
I hope so. I haven't spoken to him for a long time. That's what happens when you get new family like Eminem.
Right.
You forget the whole family, but we do talk rarely sometimes. But I must ask him. I mean, goad him into it, perhaps.
What brought about the song?
No, I always write. My party
You are a
members,
lyricist, right?
friends have always insisted that some of my written poems should come out. I thought they're dated. I wrote it when I was 20, 21. It's so dated. So they said something should come out. People have collected it. Mrs. Sripriya has a collection from 40 years. And
Had it with her.
huh?
She had it with her.
Yeah, she's been collecting. She's the one who encouraged me, even when I was 20, that she was younger to me. And she kept saying that you must write. You write wonderfully. I knew some of the best poets in Tamil at the time.
Right.
I was, I was, I could shake hands, hug them, and stuff like that. And I was too shy. I thought that part is taken, and people are doing it. But it helped. I have read my poems to Mr. Kannadasan and Wali and Vairamuthu
Right.
and some of the great Tamil poets who have even taken the role of teachers, took a red pen and made corrections in my poem. It has improved me as a man and probably a poet. Nyanakutan has done it for me. Puviyarasu has done it for me. Nyana Sambandam, my friend, younger to me, has done it to me. So this is a part which was, I thought, I'm happy doing what I'm doing when they said that you must write something. It's been going on for 2 years. They've been uh, asking me to do this. And so I wrote a new song for the moment.
Right.
It's probably a good one, probably not yet my best, but you can see it. And what adds to it is I actually wrote something and asked Mr. Jibran to make it musical. Then I thought it's too oppressive a situation where we should be equal partners. So I said, okay, you got this idea. I've written something. Now I want to walk into your music. You know what I'm driving at.
Right.
So let's work on something which is like a Vedic, Gregorian, or any Islamic chant. And he knows he's done the Constantinople version of the three in Vishwarupam. So he understands where I have this fancy for ancient music, which they also used as a platform to convey their message. So I thought that's solid music. If you see, I always say that I had this opportunity of working with Mr. Lakshmikant Pyarlal, and I told him, he asked me, what's your favorite Hindi song? And I said, it's Avaram. I said, how would a director or a music director okay a song like that? Because just a few notes, and what adds up to is that accordion piece that comes in. Now, how do you even discern a song out of it? So that always surprised me. Ta-ra-ra-ra, ta-ra-ra-ra.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's a good thought, but our own is too popular. And so are we. So we can't afford to do something as close to that. I said, anything else? You tell me what. I said, uh, the Suprabhatam, which as a kid I have often recited. Then he took his harmonium and he looked up with a twinkle in his eye and said, you're naughty. I get what you mean. Is the addition. And he played it and he said, I know what you're insisting that's the kind of thing. And that's when Baba Baba Aurat Kabbaro Sarna Baba Baba that song came about because of that. I remember that. I always cherish that moment. And when you want to convey something strong with a chorus, it works. Be it Anbesivam or Kallai Matum Kandal, they have that body which comes from our forefathers. Um, and it's something that they used as PR, public relation music. So there must be something sensible to that. I always trust that music, and that's where we came up with this song as a choral, chant-like, and anthem-like. That's what this
Right.
song is all about.
So, what kind of logistical problems did you have? Because you've called in a lot of people from the industry to participate in the song and contribute, either by singing or by, I'm guessing, lip syncing some verses. What kind of logistical problems were there in kind of syncing up?
I'm a man who happily walks towards tomorrow. So this is a day I was looking forward to.
Okay.
And it cuts the palaver, as they say in the Wild West. It cuts the palaver and comes to draw your gun, cut the palaver and draw your gun. They say, yeah, that's what they did. And they cut the palaver and they shot themselves with their. I don't know who to credit cinematography to because all of them had done it.
Right.
And they recorded some on their phones, mobile phones, and sent it to us. I think we're being a little finicky about the quality
right.
and all that. But ultimately, when you look at Tyagaraja Bahadur singing in the old film, they actually had people sitting in a bullock cart pushed by people, the whole orchestra. When the trolley moved, they wanted the sound to move in the same angle. So there are photographs I've seen, and I've met Mr. Elizar Duncan. And I asked him, how did you do the trolley shot? And he said, we had sound following the singer along. So from that time, we're far, far ahead. And it's a talent that comes out because with or without a mic, I've heard some of the artists with and without mics, and they sound the same to me. The genius comes out with or without mic. I mean, this technology is only additional assistance, and be it Shankar Mahadevan or Bombay Jayashree Madam, they all have, they can pitch beyond technology.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. And this is what do you call left-handed job for them, and they did it because I simply asked them. Some of them I couldn't make a call to because
right.
we were all so worked up, and it was Deepika who made the call. I felt so guilty because all of them delivered like I had paid them money and they owed it. I was so touched. I called every one of them and thanked them. And it's very touching.
Yeah, did you? No, you've been a filmmaker. You have directed films, like you said. You've choreographed songs. You've written lyrics. You've done all these things. But this is probably the first time that you've gotten bits and pieces that you've assembled. Am I right in saying that? Right.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know whether you've seen a garage movie called Loose Change.
no.
If you haven't, please do that because it'll surprise you, make your jaw drop, and make you think. And this is done by a group of lawyers, I think. I don't even know. They don't care for the fame. They know individual names.
Right.
And they've done it only with available material.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
work the case so much. People call it conspiracy theory and stuff like that. But they come from actual news. And it's so shocking. And that's one side, your right or left side of the brain has ceased to cognize.
Right.
And I always wanted to do something like that. And the opportunity was this, where it's more, it's not argumentative. It is, it's an address. And I like it this way. I wanted to do something like Loose Change. I think this is even more kinder than Loose Change.
Now, you spoke of Kannadasan, and you are truly probably the only Indian film personality whose history, if I were to speak, stretches back as much as it does to the present. It's like you've been with various generations of film people. Now, let's take Kannadasan. You, at that point in Tamil film music, or actually even Indian film music, the philosophical song or the Tattva Padal was a very, very firm fixture in films. And it often was used to kind of elucidate the mental state of a protagonist or something, or a situation, what they were feeling inside. And somehow that became universal, so that when it played on the radio, people could identify with that song. And like Manidan Bhavan, Deva Magalam, they would hear that and they would kind of say, wow, that's not just it's not applying just to Gemini Ganesan, it's applying to me and my life situation at this point. And even Ilayaraja has talked about how a couple of these songs have really impacted him when he was in a very low state. And where I'm coming to is, do you think that today lyrics play as important a role in the reception of a song as it used to in those days?
Today, yes. Yesterday, I don't know. But today, yes. Because music has always been what do you call it? If you uh, sort of retroanalyze or take us back into a regressive therapy, music will always be there because we started with music. I'm not talking about no life another time. I'm talking about this life. Every child, unless they're born without a mother and mother died during birth, must have heard some kind of lullaby, if not directly from the mother, from somebody else who would have sung a lullaby. It can be in any language. You don't even have to understand it. An African child held for some time by the Indian mother will still hear a lullaby.
Right.
Or a European child for that matter. So that is there. And when you speak about Kannadasan and I forget the American marshal, I think, the Wild West, who shot down criminals, Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp, somebody like that, or who hunted down people like Jesse James and all that. They worked as technical advisors in gunfights in John Wayne's earlier films when I was a young man.
Okay.
So I've seen photographs of a man who changed his name from Jesse James or Wyatt or whatever to something other. And even John Wayne didn't have his original name. So I've seen photographs of them both sitting the with altered names. One is yet to change his name. The other has already changed. He was paid to give advice on gunfights in Hollywood films. And I'm like that. I learned to shoot from actual gunfighters like Kamal Haasan, who've been there in the wild and taken the risk and taken the riskiest shots of their life. So I thought of it when I said, "Whoa, what a life!" I mean, stepping into 2 centuries at the same time. And then I said, "Well, you've done it too. Like, you know, Kamal Haasan, you know, Elisar Duncan. I met Elisar Duncan and I shook his hands and spoke about Mandri Kumari, a film which was done before I was born. And that's why my constant visit to what is now called the Campacola campus. Because that used to be the studio that was built by Elisa Duncan.
Right, right.
And I had this nostalgia. I constantly went going back to that place to make my film. So I've met some of these legions, and they have emboldened me to embark upon projects which are even beyond me, because every project they did was beyond them.
Right.
Imagine a man boating all the way from Connemara to Guindy, and a motorbike waits for him so that he can ride up to his studio.
Right, right.
Right from behind Connemara, he'll get onto a boat and he'll be there on time, and he'll write and prepare for his shots for the day. These guys have worked under great odds. I think today this lockdown means nothing to me when I think of them. They give me strength and embolden me.
Gibran said something that we got about the film today. He said it's about the new world we are going to be living in after the pandemic. What is the world that Kamal Haasan sees once these restrictions are lifted?
See, it's the same world. The world, if at all it had any thought, would laugh at us for calling it the new world. Because it'll never change. It has seen meteors, it's seen dinosaurs die, and it could be another group of beings that existed and stopped existing. It could go either way. And we are what I call, we persevere. So this little brook might go on, not forever, but much more than we intended it to. So we have that perseverance. This is another lullaby kind of a thing that I heard during kindergarten times, first standard or something. It's called a poem called Brook. Men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So that is nature, and we are just but men. And I think harking back to Darwin, adaptability will be our sustainability, sustain life, and we'll have to adapt. And what all we are talking about are frills. We have everything now. And now this lockdown is a kind of equidistance that we maintain, which we should have. And because I just read something from the Kerala Alcoholic Anonymous, where the leaders of religion kept saying that this is the time. They've now learned to live without alcohol. Now we must shut down shops forever. And there's a note from Alcoholic Anonymous. They said, yeah, they've learned to live without priests, mullahs, and pujaris. So they should also shut down, and we will. I mean, it's a naughty quip, nothing sensible about it, but it suddenly puts everything in perspective that we could do without some of the things that we thought are essentials of life. I still remember the day when um, Elnams Road had tenants, and we were tenants, and the house was owned by somebody else. And there was a fridge. It was early 60s. There was a fridge in that house, which was like truly rocket science at the time. Every day, because I was a kid, they'll send me a bottle of ice water. I'm still, what do you call, connected to ice water so steady. I can't do without ice water. Water is what matters, and good water,
Right.
which losing that point. And these are moments which sort of brings forth essentials right in front of your, brings it to focus. And I think it's not a bad time, but for the loss of lives.
Yeah.
Otherwise, not a bad time at all, because we now learn to respect policemen not because they carry the lathi. We respect our what do you call sweepers and what we used to call scavengers with uh, disdain now have become our relatives. And you realize that they are the family, the commune, not to be mistaken with communists.
Right.
We are all communists if you look at it. Christ, Spartacus, you, me, and we are coming to realize that it's got nothing to do with politics. We are a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call it what our Honorable PM calls the Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And it's all the same. It's now COVID Kutumbakam.
Right.
The herd resistance that we're going to build would truly make us a family. And we have learned to do that. And I'm happy to see those people who discern these differences have forgotten about it because they've realized and they go a little overboard by touching their feet and garlanding them. We just have to say, hi, brother. We forgot to say that.
Yeah.
No. I always thought that the ghosts of Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Nehru will never leave India. And they are again looming larger, telling us, we told you so. Periyar also. And that's what this song is all about. Without actually being on nose, that's what it says.
Now, when you talked about change, there is at least one change that you anticipated very, very long ago, and that is with respect to cinema, because there was one point where you were talking about bringing Vishwarupam directly to homes, DTH. And today, what we are finding is because of this lockdown, there are many filmmakers who are making deals with OTT platforms and saying theaters are not important. I'm going to come. I don't mind, premiering my film in the smaller platform. What do you think is going to be the future of theater viewing post this? I know that entertainment is the least among the concerns that we have right now, but I'm saying when it finally happens.
Yeah, I've always said when people spoke in hyperbole about cinema and all that, I said, don't talk like that because we are not essential service. We are not like doctors. We are not like scavengers. We are not like policemen. We are not even like schools. So we are like Coca-Cola or any aerated drink. It's like sweetened soda. It's not essential of life. Water is. But cinema is something like that. We are fortunate that we have been given that position equal to that of great musicians of today. India, Hollywood is very clear. They kept music above Hollywood. We have not. That's a sin I think we'll pay later for. It's deferred payment, but we will pay later for it. Because cinema has eaten into such a great minefield. I mean, when I say minefield, I'm talking about gold, not bombs. So it's a mine, gold mine of talent, which has been totally eaten up by omnivore called cinema. It is not allowed. That's why you have a music academy and then a cinema music. It need not have been like that, because it's happening now. You see, that's also a sign of this, what we have done now. Some of them are classical musicians. They've all come together, and I'm proud to be part of that chorus. And that's what it is. And in this interview is another opportunity to thank them again and again. I think they have truly shown their mettle as artists and people by simply just doing it as if they've been paid for to do this thing, even more earnestly than no, I didn't know. When you asked about logistic problem, we had none except our own. They covered all the distances, and I like it. I like this way of operating. I'm a student of the digital world, and one more lesson I have learned.
Right. So finally, for these times, apart from the song that we are going to hear, if you were to recommend to people 5 songs that they would not otherwise be listening to, because a lot of people today are, because of the time they have, they are reading or watching films or listening to music that they typically might not have, because now there's all this extra time. What would you recommend in terms of music? Because the Kamal Haasan, the musician, is always a very
say what changed my life. I can't recommend. It may not change other people's life. I remember now my friend Rita Baduri, who was more educated than me in cinema at that time, because she went to the Pune Film Institute. I was in awe of people who went to actually a film institute and learned cinema. So she was about the same age as I, probably 1 year elder or something. We did a film called Kanyakumari. I was a teenager at that time. And I was very fond of her. And whenever I went to Bombay, I thought I'll meet up with her. And the opportunity came when I won my first Filmfare Award when I was 19. And when she came, she hung around with me and dropped me at the airport and gave me a music album by Mr. Ravi Shankar. It's called India. It's a compilation of what they did for, I think, UN music, produced by George Harrison. And it was produced by him. And I remember listening to it, and it sort of opened my mind. I used to constantly hark back to the sound. I was a student of classical music, but this was another, what I call Jantra Sammelan of musicians. And Hari Prasad Chaurasya, Allah Khasab, and a young man called L. Subramaniam and L. Shankar, and his would-be wife, and Mrs. Ravi Shankar, Kamala Chakravarti. They were all there, the young people. I had honor of both the sisters singing at Eldance Road for me when they thought I might feel a bit low. and they came and sang, and I brought all my friends. And that kind of music is something. Please listen to actual musicians live. It emboldens you, it humbles you. There are certain things you can't do, and then you realize this digital era makes you feel good with all the gizmos, but there are true talents like Lydian on the piano. It is not something to hear, it's something to watch. If you lose it, in another 20 years, it'll be yet another young person. You'll call him a man. But this is unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
It's these are sights only we can, like, we go watch eclipses in awe.
Yeah, yeah.
These are talents that can eclipse us. And you have to watch this. My recommendation is just watch the wonders around you which you missed in your walk to the office or success. And for films, I have so many films. I mean, read whatever you believe in, what touches you. It can be Bhagavad Gita, Quran, the Bible, or simply Periyar. But they all have the same quality of grabbing your mind and making you question yourself. This is the time, because then you'll be again busy on the bus and the train and the transport system stuff, moving you. You won't be moved by this uh, great immovable properties that is there. It is the memory that is more important than your genes.
On that note, thank you so much. And we are happy that politics has not stopped the earlier Kamal Haasan from expressing his creativity, and we really look forward to this song. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaskar.